do you have friends who are also medical professionals? who are
Yes, of course.
The unfortunate truth is, bro, you're running a successful business. I'm running a successful business. They're still studying.
Mm-hmm.
What is up with this long-term studying aspect of a doctor's life? I mean, this might be a slightly amateurish statement, but is there any way we can like shorten the length of study for a medical career so that they can start their private practice early? I don't know. Is this just...
It's a great question, right? And I think today, when, as I mentioned, right, it takes roughly 14-15 years to have a thriving practice in medicine. And yes, you're right. So is it longer? But I'll tell you, in the West, it's even longer than India, right? But before that, I'll just tell you, before I answer that question, right? Today, when an IIT bags a 1 crore salary, the whole country is rejoicing them. Oh, they got a 1 crore salary in Google, at some tech company, at some startup. But boss, when a doctor charges 700 rupees in an OPD and spends 5 minutes to tell you the diagnosis, like, bhai, 5 minutes के लिए उन्होंने 700 रुपया ले लिया? ये कैसे fair है? Boss, we are not being fair to our individuals. They have not taken 5 minutes to give you a diagnosis. They spend 15 years to study to give you the diagnosis. It is their experience. And more often than not, we are not giving them the chance to give them the right diagnosis. Right? One more thing I'll tell you. There are enough laws with regard to the number of hours a pilot can fly, the number of hours of sleep they require to fly a plane. Is there any law that tells you that a doctor should sleep these many hours or work these many hours? Let's not forget, these doctors are spending 36 hours in a hospital and more often than not conducting surgery with such limited sleep. These are life and death situations. So when you talk about laws, I think there are many laws around this. Finally, the Central Protection Act. This was an act which was brought in the government, the parliament, in 2022 to shunned for whatever reason, the political reasons are. But I, as a citizen of this country, demand for this law to come back. Today, already 25 states have some law that if you attack a doctor, you will be prosecuted. But not one individual has been prosecuted till date. You're talking about Kolkata. Last week in Sion, there was a doctor that was attacked. A drunken individual at the OPD attacked a doctor. This is a case of a daily occurrence. If we do not have a law and we do not enforce this law, how can we expect our doctors to feel safe? Imagine 50% of doctors fear violence by the Indian Medical Association. How can they do the most difficult surgery and provide the best care if they are fearful? Many often, if I was a doctor, I would probably say that maybe I shouldn't do this surgery because maybe I'll get attacked after that. We're creating the wrong incentives, the wrong environments for the best care. Eventually, it's citizens like us who will suffer.
How these attacks started in the first place? Like, why do doctors get attacked? I've never understood that.
Great question.
I'm assuming that hospitals and medical facilities are extremely emotional environments where you're on the edge. Anyone who's entered an emergency ward at any point knows how kind of tense that environment is. Obviously, because of everyone coming in, etc., and people's real characters come out. This is what I've gained from my one visit to an emergency ward. Now, I am assuming that this also brings out the worst in human beings. Now, there's a long-term narrative in our country of being a little skeptical when it comes to medical professionals ki, oh, ye to hamara paisa chura rahe hai. That's one narrative. I'm from a doctor's family, so I know the truth.
Of course.
Like, from the inside, doctors are wholly concerned with the healing of their patient. That's all they speak about, even at home, to their kids who are not medical professionals.
Yeah.
That's the truth of being a doctor. So why does the general Indian public even think that violence towards doctors is okay?
So I'll tell you, right, when a patient's family misses a heartbeat, the doctor's actually missing 2 or 3 heartbeats because that's how caring they are, right? But to answer your question on kind of why does violence occur, there are a couple of reasons, right? One is, Ranveer, in India per se, we take our family members to the hospital only when there is an emergency. Today, these hospitals have become not centers of healthcare. They become centers of sick care. They are not preventive in nature. We are being reactive, not proactive. So when there is an unfortunate disease or something, an extreme case, that is when we go to the hospital and we try to tell the doctor to play God. When doctors are not gods, they are human beings. Doctors cannot do magic. More often than not, what happens is a patient's family or a patient is getting angry or abusing the medical professional out of their extra emotion, their anxiety. but they are just blaming the messenger. The doctor can't do anything if the disease is at an advanced stage. That's number one. Second is, it's been spoken about a lot in the media. Yes, there are less doctors. An average resident can meet and cater to almost 250 patients in an OPD. 250. The patient load is crazy. So yes, even when they have to share a diagnosis and be compassionate and be empathetic, they sometimes don't have the time to do that. And yes, maybe they could spend more time communicating with the patient, but because there are less medical professionals, there are less doctors, they don't get that opportunity. That's number two. Number three, which I spoke about earlier as well. There is no security. There's absolutely no security there. So anybody can enter and attack. And fourth, and I think you and I and all of us are also responsible for this, is that today the media, today content, today movies, today TV shows, they're demonizing doctors. There is only more negative content around maligning doctors, medical malpractice, doctors charging too much money. When are we going to bring the glory to medical professionals? We spoke about Olympians. Rightfully so. They deserve it. We spoke about army veterans. Rightfully so. When is content coming out to celebrate these medical professionals for the work they do, the lives they save? A doctor recently saved the life of a young baby on a flight. When was that spoken about? When will we glorify these doctors? And because we see these negative contents, we feel it's okay for us to speak negatively about doctors. And it's okay for us to disrespect them publicly. So I think we all are a little bit responsible for this change.
How do the doctors that you speak to on a daily basis feel about this Kolkata case?
One word, anger. There is so much anger. There is so much disappointment. There is this sense of, when will we get our due? When will we get our due? Yes, doctors are becoming doctors because they want to thrive in their career, and rightfully so. But they're also doctors because they want to care. They're fundamentally people who touch more lives and save lives than you and me. I don't know if you read in Delhi, doctors were protesting, but they were conducting OPD on their streets. While this case was going on in Kolkata, while the vandalism was going on, did you know in the Kolkata hospital, the surgeries were yet going on? They were saving civilians' lives. They did not stop doing that. And that is the truth. Yes, they are human beings, but they are exemplar in terms of the care they give. Doctors, nurses, technicians across the board.
You know, my fear is that by the next week, the internet will begin to forget this case. That's just the nature of the internet. Which is why I want to keep making content around this. I genuinely believe we need to hold the state government of Bengal responsible to some degree at least. There is some policies in infrastructure. Parallelly, I genuinely believe, actually, I feel PM Modi should speak about this violence against doctors angle. And third, on a very everyday basis, I think young Indians need to discourage other Indians from bad-mouthing doctors. Because I feel culturally something shifts there. When you abuse a doctor in privacy, when you say that, oh, dude, yeah, doctors are just in it for money, that culture needs to kind of stop to some degree. Because perhaps the violence that we see against doctors is an outcome of this internal doubt or internal remorse that some parts of the masses feel towards medical professionals.
I think it starts from us as a society having a more positive perception towards medical professionals, respecting their work. I think there should be movies, there should be TV shows, there should be content made about doctors, their lives, like how we do for athletes, like how we do for army professionals. And rightfully so, they deserve all the credit and all the adulation. But I believe doctors as well do. Nurses as well do. The heroic stories of these doctors, these nurses. Dr. Devi Shetty, an absolute legend. What he has done for heart surgery in this country, what he speaks for doctors, I think there's a lot of individuals like him who are adding so much to our lives, who are saving lives on a daily basis. Why aren't we glamorizing these individuals? And it starts from you and me, talking to our friends positively, sharing our experiences, because change starts with one conversation and one conversation only. And today you rightly said, I think the internet is the best medium. And I think, thank you honestly from the bottom of my heart for taking this issue up on your podcast, because you have the distribution, you have the platform. It shows that you are trying to make an impact on our community in the positive way towards medical professionals. And I think that's a positive step, and hopefully other content creators and other platforms can do the same.
Yeah, genuinely, there's a part of me that's doing this because I'm appalled by what happened. Secondly, I'm from a medical family, so I can understand everything you're saying. I've seen it like firsthand. I've seen a childhood where, so my mom was very young when she had me. There were so many moments during the time I was growing up that she would choose to go to the emergency ward to conduct a delivery. She's a gynecologist, and I'd be left back home. And I was told when I was very young that, hey, my career and my duty comes before my children as well. But you only understand these things when you're from a doctor family.
Yeah.
Which is why when this has happened, when doctors are being maligned in this way, now that I've got this platform, I might as well use it to talk about the truth of India. Hey, if you enjoyed this clip from The Ranveer Show, we've uploaded a ton of other clips related to a ton of other topics. So explore the channel because there's something for everyone.